sometimes trashy, and sometimes it's clean.
Sometimes trashy and sometimes clean?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know anything about the south side of Columbus? How would you describe the south side? Have you ever heard anything about the south side of Columbus? No? Okay, what do you do after school normally?
I go to an after-school program.
You do? Where?
The Down Center.
The Down Center? Do a lot of your friends go there?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them do? Good. Okay, and then what is like a typical weekend for you? What do you typically do on the weekends?
Tetherball.
Tetherball? Here?
No, at my house.
You have a tetherball thing in your backyard? Cool. Okay, what is the best thing about this community and what's the worst thing about this community?
The best thing is sometimes we get less wrecks down here.
Less wrecks like car wrecks?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we get more fires.
More fires, is that the worst part?
Yeah.
All right,
Next
cool.
question is, how do you feel about your community? So like your neighborhood?
I feel kind of scared because people like to throw pop bottles at other people
Really? When does that happen?
every Saturday,
Every Saturday?
almost every Saturday.
Oh, okay. So what would you say is the best thing about the neighborhood and the worst thing?
The worst thing about the neighborhood is throwing beer bottles, and the best thing is that people are nice to you.
People are nice? Like what people?
Unlike my family,
Your family's nice? All right.
they have a whole bunch of family that lives over here.
Cool. Do you know anything about the south side of Columbus? Never heard anything good or bad about it? No? Okay. What do you normally do after school?
I normally go home and I start playing my Xbox.
Okay. By yourself? All right. And what do you normally do on the weekends?
On the weekends, I sleep in and I play with my brother.
How would you describe this community, so the neighborhood?
Green and
How do you feel about it?
feel good.
You feel good about it? Okay, what's the worst part about the neighborhood and what's the best part?
The bad people,
The bad people are the worst part? What do you mean the bad people?
the people that do violence,
Okay. And what's the best part?
it has a pool around,
Oh, I
so
know.
when it's time to go outside.
Nice. Okay, do you know anything about the south side of Columbus? Have you ever heard anything about the south side? No? Okay. And what do you normally do after school?
After school, I usually do my homework or go outside.
Do you
watch
go
TV.
do you go back to your house?
Yeah.
Okay. And what is like a typical weekend like for you? What do you normally do on the weekends?
Me,
Yes.
I go to other people's houses with my friends.
I would say it's a poor economical neighborhood. Parents are very helpful, but the majority of them don't have an education. And we started GED classes here several years ago. And I would say very helpful and willing to come in for anything, but the environment isn't positive.
Well, and to piggyback that, it's kind of an Appalachian culture, so a lot of movement between, West Virginia, Southern Ohio, and this part of town, even with jobs. You kind of see people travel that far down to get work. It might be temporary work, but then they come back. A lot of that Appalachian culture, when we first came, we had training. We had like a year long, like 3 different sessions of training on the Appalachian culture, and education was not something that they said was highly valued in that culture. Although, you can't stereotype that because that's not what we see all the time. We see parents that are involved,
Yes.
that want to know more and maybe have more than what they experienced.
What would you say would be the best thing about the community and what's the worst thing about the community?
I would say the best is the kids' behavior. Like, we don't have any sort of behavior problems. Our kids are very well, they love coming to school. I would say our attendance rate is extremely high. So that would be the best.
And we also have a lot of community support, different organizations and community members that want to help, and they give a lot of supplies and support and time and tutoring. So we've got a lot of hands on deck that want to be involved.
Worst thing?
I would say maybe just lack of educational, like for homework help and things at home, the parents might not necessarily have the background to help them. So we kind of come in to help them.
Yeah, and I would have a hard time saying a negative. So I don't think I'm going to answer that question.
What would you say, how would you compare the west side and the south side?
Well, we both own the hut at the west side. I would say from what I know, we're very similar. And I would say the only difference, and I'm not exactly sure, but I know west side is huge right now on the STEM movement, and we tried to, like when we go to group staff meetings now, we have to do by regional. And so we go south side, and west side is all about the STEM movement right now. But the kids are kind of the same.
Right.